How about that for a take? Okay folks, for this Mohican shrimp type fly, hare's ear fly, you are going to need some hare's patch, nice dark hare's patch. You're going to need some red silk. You're going to need some copper wire. That's what mine looks like, had it for ages, yours probably won't look like that. You're going to need some pearl mylar, quite wide. Obviously you're going to need some scissors. You're going to need a dubbing needle. You're going to need some Velcro to pick out the fibres. You're going to need a whip finish tool. Of course you're going to need some B175s or whatever your favourite hooks are. I don't use grub hooks for this fly, I use straight hooks, I'll tell you why later. And you're going to finish it off with some varnish. For the F.A.B, all you're going to need is some hot orange silk, some original biscuit Fritz. This one is by Flybox, it's the gel core Fritz original biscuits, and you're going to need some yellow foam. Very simple. Okay folks, so we're going to start out with the foam arse blob, biscuit coloured foam arse blob that I did so well with on Grapham a couple of weeks ago, not even that. I'm just going to snip this bit of foam diagonally, that's going to make it easier to tie in. I'm going to snip it to make it a bit rounded on the end. Some people give these a snip down the centre as well to make them split, just make it look a bit more interesting. Take the silk, tie it on in the usual way, and lay the foam on the top of the shank, pull it down, tie in over the top of that, and there is your foam arse of the fly, which is where the name foam arse blob comes from. This is effectively a blob with a lump of foam in the tail for buoyancy. This is the biscuit Fritz. This is gel core. This is by Flybox. They also do a translucent version of this, which is really good. It's nice because the translucent version shows the underbody through, which when the fly is wet looks really effective. This shows through a little bit, but the translucent version is good for flies where you want to have the centre of the fly, the colour that you've laid on the shank, showing through the Fritz. So it sometimes gives you that little edge over a standard blob. So, best way to apply this Fritz is to make a turn, pull the fibres back, make another turn right next to that, keep on doing that all the way up the fly. The fly's just spun a tiny bit. Keep on doing that all the way up the fly. Nice close turns, pulling back the fibres with every turn gives you a lovely dense Fritz body. One more turn, leaving some room for the head. Pull it tight. I just make a turn or two over the end of the Fritz, then pull it back, form the head and chop off the excess once I've finished. There's the head. snip that off nice and close. Then a straightforward whip finish, or whatever your favourite way to finish a fly is. Some people do a manual whip finish, which always amazes me. Anyway, there you go. Bit of varnish. I still use the old-fashioned Salaya varnish by Vineyards. There it is. Biscuit foam arse blob. Great fly on Grapham, Rutland, any of the reservoirs. It's great as a controller fly for the point where you're fishing nymphs up the line. And as proven on Grapham the other week, 4 out of 6 fish took this rather than the nymphs. So it's worth having these types of flies on your leader. Okay, next up is the Mohican hare's ear. It's not really a hare's ear, it's a hare's body, which is because we're using the body of a hare, not the ear of a hare, but traditionally it's always been called a hare's ear, so we'll carry on calling it that for the time being. So B175 hook in the vise and red silk. That is crimson red silk, not very fluorescent or very bright red silk, just straight crimson red. Tuft of hare's fur from the patch for the tail. In it goes. Don't worry about it if it's a bit messy to start with. Trim that. Tie the fibres in. Now, you're going to need some copper wire. Tie that in first. Black pearl mylar. This is for the sides of the fly. It's not like a shellback nymph. It's got the flash running down the sides rather than across the top. I'm just going to tie that in so that it's lying down the side at the back to start with. Right, so that's the rib and the sides of the fly taken care of. Now, when earlier on when I was showing you the bits and bobs that you'll need to tie these flies, I forgot to mention wax. So this is sticky wax by Vineyards. It's my preference for this fly. It gives the fibres of the hair the best chance to stick to the thread. This is the hair that we're going to use. It's very long. It's the guard hairs from the back of the hair, and we're going to put it on fairly loosely. You don't want to tightly pack it onto the silk because you want this fly to be nice and shaggy and loose, not tightly knitted. So you almost got to put too much on. It feels like you're putting too much on, but believe me, when you come to pick it out later, you'll lose some of this and you wish you put more on. A bit of under hair there. Get it laid on, lots and lots of lovely fur. Make some room for the head. This fly needs a nice big red head. Okay, now I'm going to just lay the first side down my side and then take hold of the pearl on the other side of the fly. I'm just going to check that's okay. Yep. Take these 2 bits of pearl back under the head, snip them off. You're nearly done. It's not that complicated, this fly, but it's a great pattern. Okay, take the rib and Give it a nice, not too close, that's about right. Again, take this back, and then I like to, with wire, I like to just give it a wiggle, and it'll wear itself off. Okay, like I said, nice big head for this fly. Whip finish tool. Whoops, made a mess of that. Start again. Whip finish. Job's a good one. Now that snapped before I could snip it, but normally I'd just snip that off with some sharp scissors. Now, the key to this fly is beating it up with some Velcro. This is just a bit of Velcro stuck to a Costa Coffee stirring stick. It's a great way to rough your fly up. And for the Mohican, top and bottom, you want this thing looking really shaggy in the water. There you go. That's the Mohican hare's ear. Bit of varnish on the head. Brings out the colour of the silk as well when you varnish. As well as protecting it from trout's teeth, which are very sharp. Now, earlier on I was saying why I don't use grub hooks or curved hooks for this fly. It's simply because when these shrimps are at rest or in your hand or in the bottom of the boat, they look curved because they curl up. When they're swimming, free swimming in the water, which is what we're trying to imitate with this fly, they swim straight. They're not curved, they're straight, and often they swim on their sides. So this is a great pattern for that reason, and that's the reason I don't use curved hooks. Good luck with this fly. It's a killer, and with the F.A.B, the foam mask blob, and tight lines. Until next time, cheers for now.